that we're back down in the basement where we belong, we're ready to crank up the heat with a steaming hot charcuterie board of AuDHD topics. This episode, Grace is taking you down the rabbit hole of her screenshots folder and sharing some important AuDHD insights from therapists and fellow content creators. She's covering different ways to stay in daily contact with your projects rather than focusing on consistency, why it's important to recognize the underlying needs fueling our bad habits, how encouragement can become ableism, and what to do in the face of a hangry friend. Just like pleather in a sauna, this episode will stick to your thighs, arms, and hopefully your hearts. So come join us for an educational steam.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
Let's do
All
it.
right, we are recording.
We're recording in the new Podlove.
New Podlove 3.0.
3.0. Basement part 2.
We're back down here.
In the basement where we belong.
Different basement, but you get the idea.
Basement.
All right, Kristen.
Yep.
We're sweaty guys today.
We're super sweaty.
But you know what? I think the people would love it if we got a little toastier.
Yeah, I could always go toastier.
They like to see us suffer,
yeah,
you know?
It's like a sauna, but here we are.
Yeah, it's just, we're sitting on a pleather instead, you know?
Pleather,
it's like if there was pleather in a sauna. Yeah. That's really the ideal furniture for a sauna, is like something that you're going to stick to,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So then you get the satisfaction of peeling it off. Yeah.
That's not
fun.
a peeling sound.
No,
but
you could probably just do it, you know?
This is us peeling.
Yeah, you hear it? Us peeling. It's nice. All right, yeah, so let's get a little warmer by doing a little warm-up question, and then we'll get into this meaty episode.
Okay.
I was thinking about this outline, and I don't...
Hold on.
What?
Welcome to Waves of Feather, an ADHD/AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Stanhope.
I'm your host, Grace Bray, and I just realized last episode I said ADHD and not AuDHD.
You're turning into me.
It. I know.
You're turning into me.
Have we swapped places?
Oh,
Freaky Friday. Freaky Sunday.
You just realized something, and you were going to tell me about it.
Well, one, I realized that I said ADHD and not AuDHD last episode, but also I don't know really. I feel like the lines have really blurred between what is a bagel bite, what is a meaty episode.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blur the lines even more this episode.
Yeah. Lines were meant to be blurred.
You're right. That's why they're there. That's why we draw them in pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to make a rude joke, but I won't.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say... I don't want to say it.
Now I need to hear it.
You can bleep it out.
All
if
right.
It's really bad. I was going to say Robin Thicke said it best.
Oh, God. Yeah.
We'll cut that one out.
Creepist. All right. Let's get to this goddamn warm-up question.
Yeah.
Now that I guess we've introduced the podcast or whatever.
Yeah. We've got the formalities out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we can get into that sauce. Kristen.
Yeah.
Would you rather have to plan a party? All right. Let me try it with emphasis. Would you rather have to plan a party for 300 guests or host a party for 300 guests?
Can I ask a follow-up question before I give my answer?
No. Yes, fine. Fine.
Am I paying for the party?
No. Money is no object.
I don't care. As long as I don't have to pay for a party for 300 people?
Yeah, that's a big party.
300 people?
Yeah, dude, it's a big
crazy.
party. I know.
I think
It's a conundrum. It's a dilemma. What would you do? Plan it or host it?
I think hosting would be easier because I wouldn't have to plan it. It's all planned for me.
I'm going planning.
You're going planning?
Yeah, I don't want to have to host a party. The pressure. maybe you've planned it all out, but like you still have to worry, you know. I get so stressed. Is like everyone having fun? Are people enjoying themselves? Are there enough hors d'oeuvres? Is the music right? You know, is it too hot in here?
I think I could host.
Why is Uncle Jim throwing up in the corner? You know, you'd rather host?
Not Uncle Jim again.
Not again, Jim.
You did this last time.
That's so Jim.
I think if it's all planned,
yeah.
I guess how well is it planned?
Very well planned.
Very well planned. I'm hosting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's way less work.
Okay.
You just show up and hope for the best.
I guess, what if these are all people whose opinions you really, really care about? I think you're thinking of this as like an anonymous group of 300 people.
I was going to say, I don't know. I don't even think I know 300
people. If the party doesn't go well, they're all blaming you. There's people from work there. You got
that's a lot of pressure.
Family members.
I'd just be like, I didn't plan it. I'm just here.
I'm just
I didn't plan it. I didn't plan it.
I don't know. It might be a little shoot the messenger. I do not like hosting.
You don't like hosting?
I hate the hosting.
I like a little.
We should throw a party together.
We should throw a party.
I'll plan it and then not come. No, I'll come. I just don't want to host it.
I'll
you know?
host. I like hosting. You like greet people. Don't hug them. Welcome them in. They're like, let's take a house tour. You're like, great. I'm glad I cleaned my whole house, including like the weird areas they always look.
That's a good time to have a hug surrogate, is if you're hosting a party, because that's a lot of greeting people. You know. Yeah.
Luckily, my family doesn't like to hug each other.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Just one big autistic
Except now
family.
Christopher's ruined that.
Thanks a lot, Christopher.
I know. He's teaching everybody how to hug and love and talk about their emotions. He's
Turning them
ruining
into real
my
boys.
family. Yeah. Ruining my family.
By bringing emotion into
It was perfect before he got there.
No one hugged and we were all unhappy.
We were
and
all
that's the way
unhappy
it was.
and miserable, and we didn't talk about our feelings or anything that was bothering us.
Yep.
Now we have discussions.
Ugh.
I know.
Who needs them?
I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually like to plan, you know? I feel like I do like to plan things. I love to make a to-do list. I don't like doing the to-do list, but I love to make one.
No.
If I had someone who could like schedule all the little bullshit for me and I was literally coming up with like the structure of the party, especially if it was a fun party, I could do a fun party.
I'm currently planning a party right now and I'm miserable.
But that's a retirement party. That's not fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I think it's
not as fun as like a kid's party. You know,
a kid's
or like a
party.
wedding. Yeah, that'd be so fun.
No, that's so much planning.
To plan a kid's party, a super rich kids party.
That would be really fun,
right?
Okay,
and I don't want to host that.
I don't want to plan a wedding. That sounds awful.
I don't want. No, wedding is too far. I don't want to plan.
Too much.
What am I, a wedding planner? I don't think so.
No, thank you. You hire people for that. I don't want to plan. I don't like the planning. I'm excited to host my parents' retirement party.
Are you?
I am.
That would be the worst part for me.
No. I think it's gonna be great. I'm miserable trying to plan this. One, because my family.
Yeah.
And who they are. But two, it's like, you know, I've gotten the caterer. Now what? Like, I don't know. I got to have like games for them. It's not just going to be people
get some
eating.
yard games.
Yeah, we have yard games.
Got moose
I have
balls.
A cool, well, I have to make it, but I'm going to get a box and have like almost like a suggestion box, but it's going to be like suggestion for hobbies.
I love that idea. That's a good idea.
And I wanted to do other things like that, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if anyone out there has any suggestions for planning this retirement party,
will probably be released after the retirement party, to be honest.
Well, you'll get to hear all the ideas Kristen missed out on.
Yeah.
You know?
Exciting.
Yeah, good stuff.
I don't know, like...
Get moose balls. It's a fun one.
What?
You get the little ladders. It's like a little ladder.
Ladder ball?
Yeah. Moose ball. That's what people call it here.
Ball.
Yeah.
No one calls it moose ball. It's just ladder
maybe
ball.
moose balls.
Why? Because they hang low?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we have Christopher made, although we should probably paint them because we hosted another party for a coworker who was leaving. So he made cornhole boards that say Later Trader on them.
Love that.
So I don't know if we should.
That would have a different vibe for your parents' retirement party.
Yeah,
but
so probably
Later Trader.
Yeah,
thanks a lot for quitting.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I think you can still use them.
We'll probably still use them. They're nice. And then we have like lawn darts, but they're the safe kind. They're not like the old school like death darts.
Yeah.
So,
that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited for you. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. We got to scooch into this episode.
Yeah. Let's scooch on in.
You ready to get to some little accomplishments?
Yeah.
All right.
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts.
Kristen.
Yeah.
What did you accomplish?
I dropped 2 bags of clothes off at Salvation Army that were sitting in my bedroom for like months.
Damn.
Woo!
Look at you.
2 whole bags.
That is such a little accomplishment. That's a big accomplishment.
Woo woo.
I struggle to do that all the time. And I have a bunch of clothes sitting in my basement that I need to bring, but I won't.
Yeah, I always feel bad because I'm like, I feel like I should be donating better quality.
I mean, those places are so predatory, though. Like, my thing is I feel shitty. I don't want to donate to Goodwill and Salvation Army, you know, because they make a big profit. Especially now. They're jacking up these prices.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I'd rather donate my stuff to, like, Maine Needs. By the way, everyone, check out Maine Needs, the organization in Maine. Check them out on Instagram. They do really great stuff for the community.
I didn't know
But,
that.
yeah, they take, like, nice things and they will put on their Instagram, like, certain types of items that they're looking for. Like, often it'll be men's stuff because it's always women donating.
Yeah.
So what does that say about society? But men, donate your stuff to Maine Needs if you have nice stuff because they need men's clothes. Anyways, yeah, they will like put out listings for certain things you give them, but they want them to be nice. So
Yeah.
I don't want to just chuck my ratty clothes into a
No, the ratty clothes,
landfill.
if they're ratty enough, they go in the trash.
Yes.
Which I do feel bad about, but some of these shirts have like holes in them, or like Christopher will use them as like
rags. That's a good way to repurpose.
Yeah. But some, like especially women's clothes, the like t-shirts, they're so thin.
Yeah.
You can't even use them as a rag. Like you can use a man's shirt, like
Yeah.
men's shirt as rags because they have some substance to them. But women's clothes, I don't know what. I know exactly what it is.
Yes.
It's capitalism, but for some reason, and sexism,
Yeah.
they're like, women can have see-through clothes, and that's all
I wonder
fine.
what systems of oppression that could be
Yeah.
from, Kristen.
It's just like everything's just like shittily made, and maybe because I'm also like not buying top quality clothes, but
yeah, it's a combination.
it's a combo.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you for dropping stuff
I
off
am.
because that is like such
Thank
a
you.
feat.
It's such a feat. It's out of my house.
So
there were
easy.
some shoes in there
Ooh.
too.
So easy to put stuff in a bag and be like, I'm going to bring this to Goodwill.
Right.
And then it
It's-
just sits there.
It sits there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did it. I'm happy. It's out of the house.
It's out of there.
out of there. Grace,
Yeah.
what did you accomplish?
All right. This is a stupid little one.
No accomplishment is too
You're
little.
right. That's the point of the segment.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, that's what the segment is if you're just tuning in. Little things that we've accomplished that normally you wouldn't think to celebrate, but because you have ADHD, it's really important to celebrate the things that we do when
Yep.
we do them. Even
Celebrate
if it took
'em.
you months and months,
Mhm.
you know, it was just a 4-month long task, you know?
Yeah.
Some tasks just take a long
They
time.
just take. It doesn't matter. It doesn't belittle that task anymore.
Yeah, you were gearing yourself up to do it, and that took 4 months,
Yeah.
and that's the task, you know?
Exactly.
So it's good to celebrate these things, you know, associate them with dopamine instead of like shaming ourselves for like, why didn't you do that earlier? Or
Right.
why didn't you do more?
Right.
Meeting ourselves where we're at. So speaking of that,
Yeah.
the other night, Ian
Mhm.
and I think we had gotten some Mexican food. They gave us a little bag of chips, but it was a tiny little bag of chips.
Mhm.
So I heated up a couple tortillas that we had as extra. I'm like, oh, we
Ooh.
can use these if we run out of chips. We didn't end up using the tortillas. And then when I was going to clean everything up at the end of the night, I was very close to just throwing the tortillas away because we didn't use them. And it would have been more work to put them back in the bag. And I was like, I'm probably just going to throw these away. We have so many of them. And I was like, no, you know what? That's wasteful. And so instead, I took out the tortilla bag and I put them back in the bag. And I was really proud of myself
There you go.
for not just throwing them away because it
Yeah,
was
I'm guilty of that.
slightly inconvenient to open
Right.
the bag and then put them back in.
I'm pretty guilty of that.
It's such a lazy ass
it's
thing
a
to do.
lazy
and I
thing, but
always
you didn't
do it.
You
I
didn't
know.
do it.
And I stopped and like normal Grace would have just been like, this is, you know,
This is-
5 seconds easier. I'm just going to waste these 2 tortillas for no reason
This is growth.
other than I can't bother to open the bag. But I
Hey.
stopped myself and I put them away like a big girl in the bag.
There you go.
And now I got
There
2
you
more
go.
tortillas than I would have. Look at me.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, extra,
I am proud
who
of
doesn't
myself.
Like extra tortillas.
I was like, wow, growth.
Growth.
And that's what this podcast is all about. Encouraging huge steps like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
This is how to be a better person podcast.
Yeah. Like, don't waste food for absolutely no reason. People are starving, Grace. What are you doing?
Well, you know what? Like you said earlier, you have ADHD.
You're right. Executive dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know, you
Sometimes
got no spoons left.
Executive function is like, applying to school. Sometimes it's putting tortillas back in a bag.
Yeah,
you know?
it can come in any size or shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not, no accomplishment is too little.
You're absolutely right.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
I needed that.
This is a growth.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm proud of
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, you should be. You should
Yeah. You're laughing while you're saying
be. No,
but
you should. No, that's good.
It's
food
good.
waste. Food waste is a big problem.
Yeah.
So
It's a,
proud of you.
Endemic. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, should we get into the meat of our episode? It is the meat.
It is me.
I like how we've decided that somehow, for some reason, our catchphrase, but we don't say it at the same time.
No.
It's not really in any structure.
Catchphrase
song.
adjacent.
Yeah, it's not even a catchphrase. It's just
not
us.
even. It's just the thing that we say.
Yeah,
And this is it.
We
Yeah.
said we need a replacement for this, and then we waited too long, and it just became what we say.
Yeah,
Maybe one day we'll change it.
maybe we'll make a song, but
Let's not go crazy. Let's not
Yeah.
happen us. All right. So for this episode's meat, and this is why I'm saying I don't really know the difference between a bagel bite and
this
a
meat
meaty
is like
episode.
as if a bagel bite was meat,
yeah, as if a bagel bite were bigger, you know?
a regular size pizza bagel.
Yeah, or like just a pizza.
yeah. This
If
is
a bagel,
like a meat pizza.
yeah, if a bagel bite was a meat pizza, I guess.
You guys got
You
it.
get
yeah,
it. You
Yeah.
get
it's
it.
just gonna be a schmorg,
Yep.
but it's a lot of schmorg.
And there's substance to it.
yeah.
It's like what I always want the bagel bites to be and what I plan for the bagel bites. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can fit this in 30 minutes. And then, no,
No,
I can't.
You can't. You can't
So
do it.
this is me getting the chance to share some schmorgs.
Yeah. Let's do some schmorgs.
Let's do some schmorgs. So instead of doing like one focused research topic for this one, I'm just going to mention a few different, 2 TikToks and an Instagram post
Yeah.
that, I always am saving all these things when I come across them. I have a WOF folder and I'm always saving videos that like really resonate with me.
Mhm.
And I'm always like, oh, I'll build out a whole episode around this TikTok and then I can mention it. But that's a lot of work. And I don't usually end up doing that. And I feel like I have all this great advice sitting in my saved folders and I really want to share it with people. And I don't want to have to necessarily wait to do like a whole, episode topic around it. So I'm just going to share 3 different really meaningful tidbits of advice for the ADHDer / AuDHDer. So my first one I want to share is from TikTok at maria.bowler. She has it titled like, don't be consistent.
Don't be consistent.
Don't be consistent.
Don't be consistent. Don't be consistent. Don't be consistent. Don't be consistent.
Don't be consistent. Thank you for that. So I'm like, how do I share this? So I pretty much just like wrote down what she said in this TikTok. And I hope because I'm giving her credit, that's okay. Because she had like such a good thought. And I just wanted to share her thought. Maria said, this is how you stop creating giant plans for yourself and then giving up on them after 2 weeks. How often do we do that? Come on.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
Quite a bit.
So her advice is we need to wildly redefine what it means to be consistent. With all due respect to James Clear, the guy who wrote that book, Atomic Habits,
I don't.
Oh, it's one of those big
It's like a
self-improvement book. One of those many, many books that I read before I realized I had ADHD and then autism. And
sounds terrible.
I read so many of those fucking books. I actually never read that one, but I read so many books. And I was like, this will be the one that fixes me.
Yeah, I'm going to read this book. Self-help
I'm going to
books
get my
don't
life
work.
together. I mean, they might work for people who, have the executive functioning and dopamine to actually follow through. And maybe it's like, I think for people who have the skills to create nice structure in their lives, like, whether they're neurotypical or they're just like a really well-organized autistic person, I guess. But
You probably don't need a self-help book.
yeah, I was going to say, I think they're only good for people who like just don't have the information and then they read the information and then they're like, oh, I can implement this.
Yeah.
They're not like, I have so much knowledge about what I could be doing and what I should be doing. It's not a knowledge problem. I have a huge wealth of knowledge. It's actually making it happen and putting it into action.
It's
That's what I struggle
executive
with.
dysfunction.
Yes. So when I discovered I was ADHD, I was like, oh, yep. Yeah, that's why none of those books work for me, because they're not really meant for
They're
people
not
who
for
struggle.
you.
Yeah. Like we just need to do things a different way and that's okay. So with all due respect to James Clear, getting your habits perfect is a distraction. I really like that line. Getting your habits perfect is a distraction. And God, do we fall into that trap with AuDHD where, because it's like we have these two warring sides to us, and the autism side so wants perfection. And I get stuck, which is the executive functioning of autism, is I can't do it until it's perfect. And we get stuck in like the thought process, or it's like, oh, I need to gain more knowledge. I need to like, just figure out these things and then everything will be perfect. It's like we're trying to use perfection to make up for executive dysfunction, you know? So I like that line that it's a distraction. You don't need to wait for things to be absolutely perfect. So Maria said, it's a draining one for most people. Let's say you want to write a novel. So you decide that you'll write 500 words a day every day, and boom, your manuscript will be done in however many months. Maybe that will work. Wouldn't work for me. But in this example, maybe that will work. And then what? The whole way along, your relationship to that project will be like holding your breath. Almost there. I just have to get there every day. So then you're kind of like growing resentment towards this project. It just becomes something you're trying to slog through.
Right.
I feel like we experience that a lot with this podcast where we make things into an assignment.
Yeah.
And then it becomes work, and then it's like arduous, and then we're like feeling resentful towards it.
Right. You could just I feel stuck sometimes writing episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just have to sit down and just like slug through it. But that's not how I want to write my episode.
You want it to be kind of more casual and fun.
And fun. Yeah. We're all about fun here.
We are.
Yeah.
So she said, but instead of thinking about consistent doing or not doing the thing, I want you to think instead about building a relationship with the goal or part of your life. How do you build a relationship? You just keep in touch. This is so smart. She's so smart. So in the example of writing a novel, instead of focusing on writing 500 words every day, think instead, what would it mean for me to be in contact with this project in some way every day? Just like a relationship with a friend, some days you might just text them, other days you might spend hours hanging out, other days you might just think about them and make a mental note about what you might want to talk about the next time you're together. Trusting and building on those points of contact, that is how you make practices you really want to have sustainable. Which I just think is like such a great reframe of, especially when it comes to creative projects, you know, it's like we suck the fun and soul out of these previously fun things.
You can't force creativity either. Like even like writing episodes, like sometimes you're just like, today is just not the day. I'm not gonna write.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time with it and I can't do it, and I'm just gonna wait until a different day.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm more inspired or something clicks or something.
And I would say you can't force it, but on the flip side, you also can't wait around forever for that inspiration to kick in, because you need to have some kind of structure, because, and we do that just in life with that magical thinking, where one magical day I'll wake up and I'll suddenly feel like doing this project that I haven't wanted to do for, the last 5 years.
You need some sort of motivation, like a deadline or or something to like get you motivated to do it.
Or you can do the whole trick of like, I'll sit down and work on this for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
You need to create some kind of structure for yourself to, because yes, creativity often just like comes to you. But if you're just waiting around forever for that inspiration to get you to kind of do this thing that does take some harder work, you're not going to feel like doing it,
Yeah. Like when I went to Spain, we went to a lot of museums, a lot of art museums, including the Picasso Museum, and then the big one in Madrid. I forget what it's called, the Prado. And what I learned is that like when artists paint these big giant murals, the frescoes, they don't just like all of a sudden like, where's my oil paints and a brush, and start going away and hacking at it. They like make sketches first. They make like little mini versions of them. They make bigger versions of them. They'll make the same painting like 100 times before they do like their big final piece.
Wow.
And so maybe one day it's a fresco day and you're like pounding through this giant canvas, but maybe one day it's just like a sketch on a notepad day.
Yeah, or just like writing down an idea in your phone. And I like that suggestion, because that's I guess what I mean when I say you can't wait around forever. Like you do need to, like she's talking about, you need to have some kind of contact, some point of contact with this project without forcing it, without making it this like rigid, strict thing.
Like a lot of these artists, like they weren't just painting, they were drawing, they were doing and I'm sure this is what the art community still does. I'm not an artist, so I don't know. But they're always doing something artistic. You know, they're always like drawing, like especially these huge canvases. They're like drawing it, or maybe one day they're just like drawing the face of one guy in the picture over and over again. But they're always, like this lady says, like in touch with the project, like all the time, and building a relationship with it until they're like ready to like start painting.
Yeah. And I mean, it totally makes sense too, you know? Like if you had a friend who you absolutely loved and then you forced yourself to hang out with them every single day, you'd start to feel resentful and it wouldn't be as like, much
get
fun.
Away from me.
Yeah, it's like this is way too much time together and I don't want to feel like I have to do this every day. I want to feel like it's a choice to do it. So yeah, I really like that advice of thinking of it as like building a relationship and you're just kind of checking in. And we could also expand that to be like executive functions and stuff around the house, you know? It doesn't have, because we fall into that all or nothing trap. It doesn't have to be you either do nothing or you dedicate yourself to 8 hours of cleaning the whole house, you know? It can be those tiny little, even taking one plate in from one room into the kitchen, you know? That feels like, what's the point? But it's like, I don't know, it doesn't really take you much effort. It's a good way to feel like you're always doing something to help out the house, even if you're just doing like little things, you know?
Yeah. Christopher does. Sometimes he'll do like a 5-minute sweep and it literally looks like it changed. It looks like he deep cleaned, where I'm a big deep cleaner. Like I'm getting into the crevices. It's going to take me all day. Yeah. And he'll just do this like clean sweep where he just, anything that looks like it doesn't belong, he gets rid of it and puts it where it needs to be.
That's a good
and
skill
I like
to have.
cannot, my brain does not compute. Like I want to do that, but I'm just like, must work on the grout.
I'm pretty good at tidying, actually.
I'm a terrible tidier. I'm either deep clean or nothing. I'm all or bust.
Yeah.
But
I just feel like tidying makes such a big difference.
It does.
Know?
I completely agree. It's crazy. It will look like
motivating for me.
It's so motivating. Like it should be. But for some reason, maybe I just need to work on that a little bit. But yeah, I think tidying works wonders.
Well, tidying's hard because you have to know where things go and you have to make a lot of decisions.
Yes.
And so I can get stuck in the tidying if things don't have their place, which really the ultimate organization hack for us is like have everything have a home. You know, I follow a woman on TikTok who talks about that, and she talks about like the relationships of things and how to kind of create spaces in your home for where things go and how to determine what things go together. And she talks about these items are cousins and these ones are twins.
Yeah, I love that lady. Yeah.
I'm like, that's such a good idea.
These
and then
ones
I just
brothers.
don't follow
Second
her
cousin
advice.
Twice removed.
Yeah.
So that's why they go in different drawers.
Yeah, but near each other, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. But I can tidy if I know where things go.
Yeah. I'm a bad tidier. I'm a good deep cleaner.
You guys make a good team.
Yeah, we are a good team.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Maria Bowler on TikTok. Go check her out. She has lots of good advice. And that one I thought was just really meaningful.
Yeah.
All right. My next little sample of on the Schmorg board is from @JennaFree, the ADHD therapist on TikTok.
Yeah.
So her account name is @JennaFree ADHD therapist, and she's on TikTok. It's a little confusing, but she had a TikTok about ADHD and doing things you wish you wouldn't. Listen up, Kristen.
Okay.
And myself.
I have a lot of behaviors.
Everyone else listening probably.
Yes.
So she said, if you have ADHD and behaviors you take part in that you wish you wouldn't, but you keep doing it, they're probably regulating activities. I know we've talked about this before, but I just like the way she says it so succinctly. So things like caffeine, scrolling, TV, food, any sort of substances, shopping, spending money, all of these things are regulating, so they kind of calm us down. So if you are dysregulated a lot and you're not consciously working on regulating, your subconscious is going to find ways to regulate you that might be through things that aren't necessarily honoring you or the things you want to be doing, which is a nice way to say that. I thought of like not honoring you, because they're not like, things aren't bad or good or inherently shameful, you know, but we can do habits without shaming ourselves that we can just think of as like, we're not honoring the way that we want to go through the day or whatever. So she says, this is why actively working on regulation skills as an ADHDer is so important, because then we have more of a clear mind and an ability to choose what we do instead of being stuck in these default behaviors all the time. So essentially, not to talk about nervous system regulation. I guess this is about regulation in general, but nervous system regulation is part of it. That's why it's so important to stop using shame to stop yourself from doing these like bad behaviors. Shame. Because that behavior is serving a purpose. It's like people who lose a bunch of weight, they stop eating so unhealthily, but then they just become addicted to drinking or addicted to gambling. The addiction.
People who try to quit smoking often gain weight.
Yeah, I bet they do. Yeah, they probably, a lot of people develop like a food addiction, when they try to stop a substance, or vice versa. Try to stop food, start a substance, because the addiction is just a signifier of a root behavior, an underlying cause. And for neurodivergent people, especially, we require a lot of self-regulation, and the world is very dysregulating to us,
Yes.
We have a much higher chance of becoming addicted to substances. We have higher substance abuse rates. Like, we probably, with everything, with ADHDers, I'm sure we have higher just addiction in general. Food, gambling.
We do. I'm going to write an episode about it.
We know it's shopping. Yeah.
It's happening, but probably not for a while.
Okay. Yeah. But, instead of just trying to stop yourself from doing this thing that you think is bad, like drinking caffeine or whatever, obviously, that's an obvious one. You're using it to like self-medicate, So instead of just trying to like focus on this behavior and shaming yourself out of doing this one bad thing that you don't want to be doing, that's not honoring you. Work on regulating yourself and kind of figuring out what that substance or whatever, what that input is giving you. Like if you're super bored, and you're scrolling on your phone all the time, instead of just trying to stop yourself from scrolling, you need to address the point that you're bored and find other more interesting things for you to do,
Yeah.
So I just feel like I get caught in that cycle too of like, I'm on TikTok too much and I use a bunch of shame to get myself to stop, instead of just like, what if I just started an art project?
Yeah.
And then I was motivated to do my art project.
Yeah.
And I had something else to do instead of TikTok. Instead of just like, don't do TikTok. It's like, do art, So replacing it instead of trying to take away this bad behavior.
But also, like, sometimes you just need to watch TikTok, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
the other thing.
Sometimes you need to binge watch Friends for like 14 hours and rot on the couch a little bit. That's all right.
Yep.
We all have days like that.
Yeah. And especially like, in these trying times, but really like feels scary as hell to be in America.
Yeah.
And just be in the world. It feels like, kind of the world's ending and climate.
Steadily progressing downhill.
Fascism. Yeah. So it kind of feels like, I guess that's the other side of this coin.
The worst part of your day is you watch 2 hours of TikTok. Well, geez, I think you're doing something right.
You're doing okay. Yeah. And if you need these things to get through the day, and you're not like truly hurting yourself, I say let them rip,
Yeah.
You can try to find a few different activities that make you feel a little better about the time you've spent. But if you enjoy TikTok and it's what gets you through the day and regulates yourself, then like I feel like just being conscious of that can take the shame out of it of like, this is important for my self-regulation. I'm doing the best I can. So yeah, that was a good point that you brought up, that it's not just about changing these things. It's also can just be about accepting them, and feeling okay about it. Removing the shame. And also it's just important to know that like with a lot of these needs, if you're not self-regulated, you either consciously develop self-regulation skills or you subconsciously develop them, Yeah. And then you end up with these bad habits that you're not happy about.
That are, regular. Why do you think people like bite their nails? It's regulating for them,
So if you get like a fidget toy instead, you're still getting that input, but you're not like hurting yourself as much.
Yeah.
And people who like use running for self-regulation instead of like drinking 12 things of caffeine or whatever,
Yeah.
It's like, wouldn't that be a nice one?
Oh, that would be great. Imagine you just exercised and you felt regulated.
Yeah. But then you like rely on that,
Yeah.
Who needs it? All right. And my third and final one on this smorgasbord comes from Instagram from an account at Spot Therapy Hub.
Nice.
They are a neurodiversity affirming therapy account based out of Sydney, Australia.
Oh, we love Australia.
Throw another shrimp on the baby. And it's
or not. You don't have to.
They don't actually say that.
I don't. Does that just mean shrimp on the grill?
Yeah, and they call them prawns anyway. So I don't even know where
did that
come from. Tell us.
Tell us, Australia.
Where did this incorrect stereotype about you come from? I want to know. Anyways, all right, this post is called Sometimes Encouragement is Ableism. And this post was really a punch in the gut. I was like, wow, yep, this is it. So I wanted to share it. The post starts with like a little dialogue between an adult and a kid. And the adult says, come on, I know you can do just a little bit more. And the kid's internal monologue says, I'm already way outside my window of tolerance and I might push myself a bit further to preserve my relationship with you or avoid feelings of shame or guilt. But tonight I will experience huge restraint collapse. And each day this happens, it pushes me closer to total burnout and shutdown, which might look like stubbornness or bad behavior because you will believe your assessment of my capacity today was accurate based upon my compliance. Ugh. Brutal.
That is brutal.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so accurate for what that looks like as a child, where you do, you know, like often when I say like, all right, I'm done, I need to be done with, you know, soccer practice or whatever as a little kid, you know, adults meaning well will be like, oh, come on, you can do a little bit more. Yeah. And then you push yourself too much. Then they push you.
I think even as an adult,
yeah,
like,
you're right.
You know, you're still like pushing.
Yep.
And you don't take the time for yourself that you need.
That's true. I guess as adults, we have even more internalized shame because we were those kids hearing these messages so many times. And as adults, we're like these culminations of all these different moments of shame of like, now we are that voice inside. It's like, come on, you can do a little bit more.
Right.
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 And then we don't even know what our capacity is.
Right.
Because we believe that when we push ourselves the hardest, that's like our baseline. When really that's us being pushed past our limits.
Exactly.
But we kind of rewire what we think of as our baseline.
Exactly.
And then we're always dysregulated because we're always kind of complying and ignoring our own capacities.
And then you try to look to like TikTok or sugar or caffeine to re-regulate.
Yep. And then you get into these bad habits.
All a cycle.
It's all a cycle.
Goes all the way to the top.
So the rest of the post says, it's important to have people believe in you, to cheer you on and encourage you. However, it is also vital, especially for students with known disabilities, that their self-knowledge is respected. And not just about students. Yeah, let's apply this to all adults. But I also think this is good for like well-meaning parents to hear, for teachers to hear, like anyone who works with kids or with yourself, you know? We all speak to I feel like a lot of us speak to ourselves this way, but like, it's so easy to think like, well, I'm encouraging them. I'm cheering them on. I want them, you know, to do the best job they can. But so it's interesting to kind of think of what you think of as encouragement as like, actually, it could be this kind of like underlying subconscious ableism.
Right. Like, I think you should be able to do this, so I'm going to encourage you to do so. Where really they're like at their limit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're taking our own perception of what their limit should be and we're like imposing that on them. Yeah. So it says, we can never assume that we know what another person's capacity is in any given moment. Nor can we assume we were right, even if the person we're encouraging sustains their effort and engagement. So, you know, like it said above in that example, we can't assume that because we encouraged them and they kept doing it, that like, oh yeah, we were right. They could do more. It's like they are probably just pushing themselves past their limits, but they're not saying anything to you because they don't want to disappoint you or whatever, you know?
Right.
Or they don't want to feel that shame.
They'll feel it later.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then have a meltdown at home. And you're like, why is my kid having all these tantrums? They're a bad kid. All right, it goes on. We will never know the extent to which they compromised their needs or ignored their own self-knowledge in order to do the things we have encouraged them to try. Restraint collapse and meltdowns are the result of people pushing well past their limits. And by the time we see the signs of overwhelm, it's too late. We need to be responsive and proactive in our approach. And that's true. If someone's like heavily masking, then by the time that mask slips and you do see those signs of overwhelm, they're already probably in like a full-blown meltdown.
Right. It's too late to even like talk them off the ledge, you know?
Yeah.
It's,
because when you're having...
It makes me sad.
I know. Because when you're having like an autistic meltdown, the problem is your nervous system is so dysregulated that like you couldn't mask even if you try. Like you can't mask because it requires, it like wears on your nervous system to mask. So then you're overstimulated and then you're damaging your nervous system even more by trying to mask that you're overstimulated until the whole thing just like blows apart and you like totally have this huge meltdown.
Right.
It sucks. And then it's like embarrassing, you know? And then it feels like it's out of nowhere.
Right. You feel like you're like out of control, but it's not out of nowhere. And yeah, you might be a little out of control, But sometimes it has to happen. If you're, it doesn't have to happen, but it's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. It's been like building like a volcano eruption, you know?
I hate when you can feel it building.
Yep.
And you're like, I know it's going to happen, but I don't know when.
Yes.
And you're like trying to like, well, like, I feel like I'm like bargaining with myself sometimes when I feel that way.
Yep.
Where I'm like, I think I can squeeze in one more little thing and then I'll just pay for it extra the next day. But usually I don't even make it to the one more little thing.
Mine is like, if one more thing goes wrong, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. And then I do, you know? And that, you know, the whole parents pushing you, and no offense to my mom, I love her very much. She's a wonderful mother. She eats like a tiny little bird person. She does not understand how Lily, my dad, and I all become so hangry. She eats the tiniest little amounts. She's like, I'm stuffed. I'm full for the next 72 hours. It's like, what the fuck? And so I will...
A tea and toast lady. That's what a surgeon would call her. One of the surgeons I work with. Tea and toast.
Tea and toast. Yeah.
She's got to get some protein.
I mean, she does. She just eats very small portions and she's like stuffed. So she will just, you know, I will say that I'm hungry. And she's finally, after many, many, many years, has started to learn. But like still, she'll be like, oh, let's just, you know, if we're out shopping together or whatever, that's especially when I become so fussy. It's like, by the time I recognize I am hungry, I need to eat this second.
Yes.
And if you try to push me past this, I'm going to blow up at you. I really don't want to. I feel so terrible about it, but I will.
I hate shopping with my mom because she I always tell Christopher I'm dating my mother because the both of them love to go up and down every single aisle.
That's me.
I can't do it. I'm like I'm on a mission. I'm there unless if I'm feeling good and I'm there by myself just for me. Sure, yeah, I'll look at a couple extra things, but I'm not going up and down every single aisle. Like,
I like to spend a lot of time, but it has to be on my terms. If it's on someone else's terms, I'm upset. I need to make sure I have enough food. Enough water, and I need to leave when I'm ready to leave.
I just remember as a child, like shopping with my mom, and that's when I would have like the biggest meltdowns because I'm hungry, I'm tired, you're standing all the time.
Yeah, it's loud. There's a lot going on.
You know, and it's it would drive me. I couldn't do it, and I still can't shop with her like that because unless we're after like very specific things, we can go to the store, we can go our separate ways, and we can come back.
That's nice.
But together, like, I don't know how, do people like go shopping together and like look at items of clothes together, you know?
I don't know. Clothes feels weird. It feels so personal, you know?
Yeah.
I guess my mom and I look at them together. As we like each other's input.
Like, it's nice to have someone for input, but I don't think I've been clothes shopping with someone.
I usually like to go alone.
Yeah.
I need to be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I do feel like part of the thing, to be fair to my mom, part of it is that I've had to learn also for me to be a very clear communicator. It's not enough for me to say, I'm feeling hungry. I need to, like, we went to a craft fair the other weekend, actually, and I was very proud of both of us. I did a good job citing my exact needs, and she did a good job of listening to me. But, you know, I gave her one warning where I said, okay, I'm like starting to get hungry. I'm going to need to, you know, stop for food soon. And then she was still kind of poking along things, and I was starting to get annoyed. Like, oh, she doesn't sense my urgency. But then I was like, I'm not using my words. Be a big girl, Grace, and tell her. So I went over to her and I said, I'm feeling very, very hungry, and I feel like I need to get food in the next like 5 minutes because I'm like overheated. I'm starting to get like extremely hungry. And she was like, okay. And we just went right and got food from a little food truck. Boom. And so instead of being quietly resentful and then melting down, I, you know, really advocated for my needs, and she listened. And it's nice to be able to do that and speak up for yourself if you can, you know. But
I have a question.
Yeah.
What would you do in this scenario where you're out with a friend who gets extremely hangry? Like, I wasn't going to say her name.
I can cut it out.
Okay. You're out with a friend who gets extremely hangry.
Yeah.
You go, you sense, because this person does not use their words, but you know they're starting to get hangry, and you can feel it and sense it, and you're like, we've got to go get food.
Yeah.
But the wait at the restaurant is pretty long, but it's just a busy night for all restaurants. So you do the wait, and you are waiting. So the problem will be solved soon.
Yeah.
But
they're hungry.
They're still hungry, you know? but there's like nothing you can do. You have to wait unless you want to go to a different restaurant and wait for longer.
I always keep an emergency granola bar in my bag, so it's hard for me to relate to the situation. But all right, continue.
That's a good idea.
I'll pretend. Yeah, I like to keep.
But like, what do you do? Because I feel like with that person, like, you know, we were at the restaurant and we were waiting, but like, you know, I couldn't make small talk. Nothing I could say was like appropriate and almost like
it's tough.
It's tough because it was almost like, and this was a while ago, but it was almost like she was mad at me and like nothing I could do was right. And all my questions were stupid and everything I had to say was like not right and stupid and being like almost rude. And then the second she eats, she's like a different person.
Yeah, see, that's not fair to do that to you.
Yeah, I don't think that was fair to do. And I think I eventually said, like, you got to get this under control.
Yeah.
But, like, I understand she's dysregulated and she's sad and she's hungry, but, like,
it's not your fault.
It's not my fault. Yeah.
And that's why I've learned to advocate for my needs better, because it's not someone else's job to pick up on the fact that I'm hungry and I'm starting to get pissy,
up on the fact of it. And we did, like, get to a situation where we were, like, at a restaurant and we just had a long wait.
See, if I were that person, I would be like, I need to grab a snack before we go wait in line.
Or
at the
the emergency granola bar is a good idea, because
Yep.
then you can like, okay, yeah.
And that's a really important thing to learn about yourself and learn how to plan for it. Like I taught Ian that skill actually of thinking ahead, because he would just like not pay attention and not think about it, and then he would be super hungry. And it's like, who could have, the classic, who could have foreseen this?
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, if you know we're going to be out for like 5 hours, think about being a human. Within 5 hours, do you usually get hungry? Yes. Pack a few snacks. Boom. Easy, Yeah. Or somewhere in there, we're going to have to stop for lunch. So let's like think about that,
Right.
So I feel like it's important to advocate for yourself, to know yourself and know your needs. And yeah, it's not the person's fault who's with you,
Yeah.
It's not fair to take it out on them.
Yeah. I was like really bothered by that.
That's shitty.
Yeah, it was like a shitty thing to do. And I didn't even know. I'm like, I'm sorry you're upset. I guess I'll just stop talking. And then I guess like, and then after we ate and she felt better, I'm like, how the fuck dare you?
Did she apologize?
No.
Oh, I always apologize.
No. It was like, oh, I'm just hangry. And you're like, okay, yeah, but like you're also being rude.
Yes. Yeah, hangry is no excuse for being rude.
Right. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad we talked this out. That made me sad.
Yeah, that is sad. Yeah, if that were me getting hungry in that scenario, I would say, I'm sorry, we have to stop at like a gas station or something. Like I have to get, slam a pack of mini donuts or something, because I'm not going to be able to like wait for 45 minutes at a restaurant. And Ian and I will just say like, if he does it to me a lot. I was pissy the other night. It's hard when you're in the same house and it's like, we have to interact, and I know I'm very hungry, and you're going to piss me off, but we're in the same space. But he'll just, instead of taking it personally, and I do the same thing, he'll be like, you getting fussy, buddy? You getting hangry? He'll be like, go have a snack, or, and then I have a snack and then I apologize to him. You should always apologize. If you do, have a hangry episode, you should try to control them and accommodate your needs. And if you do end up doing that, you should always apologize.
Yeah. So it's hard, because I feel like if you're so dysregulated, the people around you should, try to watch out for that and like kind of accommodate you if possible. But at the same time, like it's not their problem.
Yeah. It's good to be aware of it, and it's nice to be supportive. Like I think it's okay to be like, what can I do to help you in this situation? Like, do you need a snack? Do you have something in your car? I feel like that type of support is good, but like feeling like you're responsible for their mood, like that's not work that you should have to do,
So here's my question. If this were to happen again and she's being real rude, can I say, listen, you're being a total bitch?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yep. 1,000%.
Be like, you're being a total bitch because you're hungry, and I don't appreciate it because I don't deserve this.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's totally fair to say if they're going to kind of snap at you.
And I don't care if you're pregnant. No.
Yeah, fuck you. No excuse. Yeah, I think if they're going to be kind of like snippy with you and rude, you can, and then that might even break the tension or it'll make them even more mad.
It would probably be even worse depending on the person. But
yeah, it's about a 50-50 shot when Ian says that to me. And he's like, you're getting fussy. I'm like, no, I'm not. Or I'm like, yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fussy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So yeah, I think it's well within your rights to just say that, and be like, listen, dude, you're hungry. That sucks, but it's not my fault.
Recently, we haven't been having, Christopher and I haven't, not that we get hungry because I eat a lot of snacks when I get home, but I'm having a lot of anxiety about the time of which we eat because he goes to bed a lot later than I do. And so he likes to come home, he likes to work on his projects, and then he likes to cook, and then he likes to go downstairs and watch a show or play a thing. And then but it's like sometimes we eat at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
Way too late.
I'm like, this is too late for me.
I also get anxious about that.
Yeah. I feel like so weird being anxious about that. And I don't know. I'm like, I've got to go to bed, but I also have to eat.
Yep.
It's really throwing off my whole night routine, I think. And I think it's because it's so nice out and it's light out and we can do, and I get trapped into it too because I'm out in the garden doing stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's 7:45. I haven't even, it's still light out. It looks like it's 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's the problem. You don't realize how late it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're the one who really has that need, it could be your job to kind of initiate things. Not it's your job to make dinner if you want it earlier, but it's hey, it's 6:30. I don't want to end up eating too late. Can we get going on dinner?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do.
Because I feel like same for Christopher. He's not no, we must eat at 9. It's he just needs that little push to be like, oh yeah, we should start
I think
now,
we both have this time blindness between 4 and 7 o'clock.
Set an alarm. Yeah, I get that, especially in the summer.
Right. This in the winter it's much better, but it's still kind of an issue. But in the summer, this summer I've been feeling so dysregulated about my sleeping and eating schedule that I'm like, oh my God, is it 4 o'clock or is it 9:30? I don't know.
Well, you could set an alarm for every day. I feel like 6:30 is a reasonable time of if we haven't started dinner yet, we should start it now because then by the time you're done, it's 7 or 7:15 or whatever, and it's good to digest a bit before you lay down for bed.
I think that's what I need someone to tell me when is it a good time to start
6:30
dinner. Okay,
unless it's a super long one, and then 6. Okay, but you could just both kind of aim for that. Work on it together. Body double with each other. Be let's dedicate ourselves to kind of at 6:30. That's when we start making dinner. Okay. And then you have a set time. Because if you keep it vague, you're always going to push it. You're like, let me just do this first.
I'm guilty of it too. Yeah. I'm like, it's just a quick dinner. I can start at 7, but 7 becomes 7:15. Or I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was going to take me this long to chop all these vegetables. And now it's late.
And that's one of those things where it's kind of both of you. But I can totally see, because I do the same thing to Ian. That's not fair. Where then you feel resentful towards him, like it's his fault.
Yeah.
But it's both of you.
It's not his fault. It's both of us.
Just because he didn't initiate it, it's well, I can't believe he didn't get dinner started. But it's if that's important to you, instead of being quietly resentful, it's important for you to make the effort to get things moving. And I'm sure he'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
He's so easygoing. He just needs one of you to say,
or he'll be maybe 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. And I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll start chopping.
Yes, exactly. You get going, and then it's easier for him to come in. All right. It's a good plan.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one who has food timing anxiety.
No, I do
and it's
too.
not just about, it's about every meal. I always worry about especially on OR days, what I am going to eat before and after OR. How long, what case are we doing? How long is it going to take? Do I eat a big meal before and I feel really full and lethargic, or do I wait and potentially starve while I'm in the case? I feel like I'm overthinking things.
No, I'm anxious about that all day, every day.
Because are you really?
Yeah, all the time.
Even lunchtime, I'm I don't know when to eat.
Because if I wait too long, especially during the day, because I don't have a big appetite because of my meds, I really don't feel that I'm hungry until I'm starving. But I'm I know my brain is losing power. I must be hungry. Yeah. But if I wait too long, it's the rest of my day is shot. Even if I eat, it's I've already gotten really sleepy from not eating, and now I'm cranky all day.
I just want someone to tell me when the appropriate, based on my individual schedule, when I should eat.
That'd be nice.
That's what I want. It changes daily. Yeah.
I don't know, study your metabolism and your schedule and how much protein you're taking in.
Yeah, but
and
my
make your whole
schedule changes
plan.
daily depend on what's going
Well, it needs
on
to
at
be
work and stuff. And so it's just difficult. But I think for some reason that's like a huge part of, I don't know if it's like an executive function thing.
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay. Well,
Plus
then,
interoception. You know?
Yeah, interoception is huge. I
feel it in
can't
your body.
feel. The other day, once again, I'm walking around. I don't know why I'm angry. I had to pee.
Yes.
I hate that. It's like the worst thing in the world. I
have brain
so
fog.
mad.
I'm getting pissed
I'm
off.
like mad at people and I'm mad at myself.
Short
and then I'm
fuse.
like
I'm getting
binge eating
irritated.
chocolate. And then I pee and I go, wow, I feel so much better. I'm like, shoot, I just had to pee this whole time.
We were recording this last episode and I was getting like, okay, let's get this thing moving. Come on, let's go. And then I was like, I just really have to pee so bad.
Just
That's
pee.
why my brain hurts.
Right on the couch.
Yeah,
It's
just
pleather.
go.
Yeah.
Put a little bedpan on
Yeah, that's what you really need.
Yeah, bedpans.
Or a diaper.
Ooh. Should we record in diapers?
We could.
We could. You wanna? Maybe.
It's hard to pee with clothes on.
Yeah, it's hard to just let yourself go like that, you know?
Like, have you ever gotten the underwear, like the Spanx, and it has a little slit so you can just pee?
Ew, no.
No?
Weird. No.
You've never worn Spanx?
I have. I know they have the little slit in it.
They
And
have,
then you're
like,
wearing
the-
underwear.
You don't need to wear underwear with Spanx. It's underwear.
I don't know.
I mean, you could, but that just seems like unnecessary underwear.
It seems like too many underwear.
You could, well, I guess what you could do is you could wear your regular underwear and then just like push it to the side. Because let's say you have a big old dress on.
Yeah.
You know, you're at a wedding, you're a guest.
Yeah.
You have the Spanx on.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Uh-huh.
There's no way you're taking those fully off to pee.
And I'm also usually in a jumpsuit, not a dress.
Yeah.
So talk about even harder.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to take the whole jumpsuit off unless it has a slit.
You're right. Double slit.
Double slit.
Yeah. All right, I need to
Title
finish
of the
this
episode.
double slit. I need to finish this fucking Instagram post. We gotta
Sorry.
get out of here.
We were off topic today.
You know what? It was good.
Yeah, this is a good off topic day.
I like having these discussions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People love it.
This is like therapy to me.
Yeah.
So.
I'll charge you after the session.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'll give you a hug. No, I won't. Just kidding.
Give me a surrogate hug.
And
we'll make
We'll each hire surrogates.
Yeah. Make a hug.
And we'll just watch.
And we'll nod. Be like, yeah.
That's nice.
Thumbs up. Yeah. That's nice. Look at us go.
Yeah.
All right. Back to this fucking post.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know where we were.
We're talking about sometimes encouragement is ableism. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. Okay.
All right. So I was saying restraint, collapse, and meltdowns.
Sorry.
We just talked about so many topics.
Wow.
Yeah. It's good, though. Restraint, collapse, and meltdowns are the result of people pushing well past their limits. And by the time we see the signs of overwhelm, it's too late. That's what started us off on the whole journey.
Okay. Now it's all
It's
all coming back to me now.
I can't even watch that documentary. I'm too sad. I love you, Celine. All right.
What documentary?
Oh, it's Celine's new documentary about having her stiff person syndrome and how she's essentially trapped in her body and she can't use her voice the way she used to. She had such a powerful voice.
Beautiful voice.
Yeah. All right. We need to be responsive and proactive in our approach. This means listening to people, even children, especially children, when they express their boundaries or needs. So how can we offer encouragement another way? These are some great suggestions. These are some things you can say. I trust you to know when you need a break. Love that. Imagine hearing that as a child.
Oh, man. I can't.
These always make me kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. Imagine having
Wouldn't
a
that
parent
be
who
nice?
just like understands.
Well, they tried.
I know, but they didn't understand, you
They
know?
didn't understand.
So I'm saying, imagine if
But they also weren't given like the tools.
I know,
you
but it
know?
doesn't change
It's
the
like
fact-
a generational thing.
I know. I'm
We
not
can still
blaming-
feel sad about it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
It's nuanced.
Okay.
You know, it can say, I understand why they didn't understand.
Yeah.
But I wish they'd understood. You
Yeah.
know? I wish they could have had the resources for themselves too, you know?
Yeah.
We're gonna do an episode in the future. It's gonna be a big one about neurodivergent parents raising neurodivergent children, you know, and like the generational traumas that come from, you know, not knowing how to take care of yourself. And then obviously not knowing how to teach a child to take care of themselves. Because duh. Another thing you could say, I trust you to know when something doesn't feel right. So if a kid is uncomfortable or whatever, and your immediate response is to kind of think like, well, I'm not uncomfortable, so like they're probably fine. It's such an immediate response, you know?
Yeah.
It's so hard to check
Like,
yourself
this
on that.
isn't a big deal.
Yes. So instead, believe them that their experience, especially if they have a different type of neurodivergence, or regardless, their experience is just different than yours. You know, we all feel and experience things differently. We have different tolerance levels. We have different, nervous systems. So just believe someone when they say, I need a break. You could also say, is there something I can do to help? So like if someone tells you that, I'm getting really hungry and I'm on the verge of having a meltdown, you know?
Like, here's an emergency granola bar.
If it's a bunch of adults, you don't have to help, but it's nice to do.
Mhm.
And if it's your child, help them out. Teach them how to regulate themselves, how to get out of that situation. You could also say, is there something else you feel you could or would be able to do right now? So that's a good question, because we also don't want to get to the point where we're like not encouraging children at all, to the point where we're, because sometimes we do need like a little gentle push to realize like, oh, I guess I could do that thing.
Sometimes they're being a little shit. No. Okay.
Sometimes they don't want to do something or they don't think they can. And so it's hard to find like, where's that line?
Yeah.
So I really like that line of saying, is there something else you feel you could or would be able to do right now?
Yeah.
So if they're not up for doing these big math problems, like, it doesn't have to be either big math problems or nothing. It could be coloring or something. Like there could be something in between a meltdown and math problems. So it ends with, when we acknowledge people as the experts in their own lived experience, they feel empowered, and it also supports the development of trust in a caregiver or educator. And trust is a powerful asset when it comes to regulation and functional capacity. Oh, that was so lovely. Wasn't that a wonderful post?
Yeah, that is a really wonderful post. Who's that creator again?
That was from @Spot Therapy Hub on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Go check them out. They have lots of great posts.
You're going to link all these in the resources.
Yes,
correct?
those are all going to be in the show notes.
From Australia.
Yep, from down under.
Ah.
All right, and that is our episode.
Nice. Oh, that
Thank
was
you
a
guys
lovely little
for listening.
schmorg.
Yeah.
I feel fulfilled.
Do you?
I feel satisfied.
Good.
It's like eating like charcutes for dinner. You're walking away happy.
Yeah, charcuterie for dinner.
It might not have been like the typical,
not your traditional meal,
but you're still loving it.
You're still full and satisfied. Yeah. If you have any thoughts that you want to share with us related to this episode or just in general, you can email us at weirdsofafeather@gmail.com. You can DM us on Instagram. You can join our Facebook group. You can check out our website at Weirds of a Feather. We got merch on there. We got pictures. We got, I don't know, whatever. You can buy us a coffee to keep this horse train running at ko-fi.com/weirds of a feather.
Yeah.
And that just goes into keeping this podcast going.
Yeah.
Producing it, editing it, and such and
Setting
whatnot.
up our loftage.
Yeah.
Now that we're in the basement again.
Check out our pictures of our pod loft probably on Instagram, right?
Yeah. I'm going to post them. I'm going to post them.
Okay.
We'll post
All right.
the progress.
Yeah. Kristen, are you ready to end this episode with a bod?
Yeah.
Nice bod.
I want your bod.
Bod.
Give me that bod.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Which is the bird of the day.
Yeah.
It's not actually like a body. It's a bird of the day.
Get it? It's like a pun.
Like a pun. And we're referring from a commercial from like the 1990s, I believe, or like early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Axe body spray.
It wasn't Axe. It was called Bod. Remember, I looked it up. It
Oh,
wasn't
was
even
it like
Axe.
a body wash,
It was
right?
literally called Bod, yeah. It was like a spray, but not like a cologne spray. It came in like a spray bottle, like you would spray your clothes with a stain remover, you know?
I hate that.
It was like a functional spray, you know?
They didn't pay enough in packaging or something.
Yeah.
They like their marketing department.
Yeah. It's not like a nice mist like a cologne. It's like, you know, like you're really hosing it down.
They're like, we have all these extra Lysol bottles.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Good, we'll put cologne in them.
Yeah, just everyone will
you want to
stink.
Douse yourself.
It, live in that stuff.
Ugh.
Well, it was probably middle schoolers buying and wearing Bod.
Were you ever there for the Axe body spray fights in middle school?
No.
Did you ever? It happened multiple times. It happened in that hallway with where the band room was.
Yep.
And there's
God.
like, I don't know. There's like two groups of boys who would just like, I don't know, steal their brother's Axe body spray, and they would have these body spray fights in the hallway. It would stink for days.
God.
I had homeroom up there, so
stupid.
you hear the like and like the you know, and they run away, and I'm like, God damn it,
Suffocates.
they've done it again.
They've done it again. Probably did some serious lung damage.
I know.
God.
God.
Deadly. All right, back to our bod.
God.
This episode's bod is the turkey vulture.
Nice.
Because I like to think of myself as a turkey vulture, you know?
Yeah, are you?
I take dead animals and I use their bones. I don't
The
swallow
turkey
them.
vulture of humans.
Yeah, I don't swallow them and dissolve them in my stomach acid.
Not yet.
I display them prominently in my home, though.
You got to start working on that stomach acid.
I know. And I really respect turkey vultures for what they do. You know, they clean up a lot of dead carcasses and disease. And without them, we would have a lot more disease.
They're
so
like the unsung heroes
Yeah.
of nature.
I feel like they don't get enough credit for what they do for us. You know, they don't
Yeah.
kill anything. They just eat what's
they
already died.
scavenge. Yeah.
And isn't that lovely? They're like the ultimate vegans.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
ultimate recyclers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I guess not vegans because they do technically eat
Yeah,
meat, but
they
they're not
eat
killing
meat.
anything. So in that sense, are they like better than vegans?
No, vegans,
Because they're
Well,
disposing of stuff
I
that
don't-
otherwise would be rotting around, like spreading disease. So if anything, they're like better than vegans.
Better than vegans.
right?
Yeah.
They're eating meat, but the meat
It
needs to be eaten.
Yeah. They're recycling. They're
Yeah.
eco warriors.
They are
Yeah.
eco warriors of the sky. All right, let me tell you a couple
Yeah.
cool fun
Hit me
facts about
with these
the turkey
facts.
vulture. I tried not to get too carried away, but I was just like, this bird's
There's
so
a lot going
fucking
on
cool.
here. Yeah.
Normally we give one fun fact. I got a few. All right, I'll go real fast. All right, so the word vulture likely comes from the Latin verel, which means to pluck or tear. Isn't that fun?
Oh, that's
It's-
cool.
Yeah. Its scientific name, Cathartes aura, is far more pleasant. It means either golden purifier or
Oh.
purifying breeze.
Scientists know how to name things.
Right?
Yeah.
Purifying breeze? That's so
That's
poetic.
So pure.
Purifying,
Purifying
and poetic.
and
Puretic.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome
Yeah, thank
for
you.
that.
Yep. The turkey vulture uses its sense of smell to locate carrion. Carrion? Like carcasses?
Like they're on United.
Yeah,
trying to,
carrion.
like,
It's
Can you
C-A-
take this?
Yeah.
Sir, it's too heavy.
C-A-R-R-I-O-N.
You're going to
Yeah.
have to check it.
Yeah, they're like, there's some carrion. Yeah. The part of its brain responsible for processing smells is particularly large compared to other birds. Its heightened ability to detect odors, it can detect just a few parts per trillion,
Damn.
allows it to find dead animals below a forest canopy.
Cool.
As a defense mechanism, turkey vultures may vomit on a bird, animal, or human that gets too close.
I fully support this.
Right?
We need more vomit defense.
Defense vomiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah. If you're getting attacked and then you vomit,
Yeah.
no one's going to attack you
No.
anymore.
Yeah, just spit up all down your front.
Life
Do a
hack.
daily dribble. Yeah.
If you're about to get mugged,
Yeah.
just shove a finger down there, vomit.
Yeah.
They'll leave you alone.
Yeah. And then they'll be kind of scared of you. 'cause
Yeah.
what the
They're like,
fuck?
oh my God.
Crazy.
This guy's nuts.
He
Just get out of here.
Stuck
Just
his hand out
vomited.
his throat. Yeah.
I don't want his wallet now. It's covered in vomit.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah. life hack.
Listeners.
Yep. And my last fact is the turkey vulture's stomach acid is extremely acidic, so turkey vultures can digest just about anything. This allows them to eat carcasses tainted with anthrax,
Jesus.
tuberculosis,
Jesus.
and rabies without
Rabies.
getting sick. By taking care of the carrion, carrion,
I think.
right? That sounds better.
Sure.
Carrion.
Yeah.
Vultures
Does that just mean carcae?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carcae. Vultures provide an essential service for the health of our ecosystems.
Yeah.
Without
Eco
them,
warriors.
yeah, without them, carcasses would accumulate and diseases would spread from rotting flesh.
Yeah.
So thank God for the turkey vulture.
Thank God.
the
Out
true
there doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, that should be our actual mascot.
That should, I learned that the bald eagle is more of a scavenger than anything on TikTok.
I've learned that whenever they do the sound of the bald eagle, it's actually a red-tailed hawk.
It is, yeah.
Because eagles sound silly.
They sound silly and
Yep.
different.
All right, let's hear this turkey vulture.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this a 10-hour-long YouTube video?
Yep, strap in. We've got another 10 hours.
No, because
No,
Christopher
it's 30
said,
seconds.
okay, he said we're not allowed to do the 10 hours long because it took too much, because he has to download the YouTube video to get the song to play it.
Yeah.
So that time I did the 10 hours of bird sounds, he
Yep.
was upset.
That makes sense.
So I was told to tell you to not do that.
That's a good note. No, this
Yeah.
is 30 seconds.
Okay, great. That doesn't sound
Ready?
real. Play one more
Sounds like a
time.
horse
I
dying.
didn't. Yeah. What? This is like a crow that smoked too many butts.
Yeah, and is also screaming.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. Maybe back up from the mic a little.
Yeah.
Not screechy enough. You're going so low.
I feel like I'm just yelling.
I think that's it. Yeah.
But there's also like a H emphasis, like
Yeah.
a.
It really took off at the end there. Maybe that,
That's actually a good one.
right? You sound like a ghost. All right, I think we got it. I think we nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.